Tonight's game is brought to you by Light Beer. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less.
Forward, number 12, Chris Harmon.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jim Carvelis, together with Ray Klebeck. And tonight, we have the privilege of bringing you a MISL playoff game featuring the defending MISL champion New York Arrows playing at home here against the Pittsburgh Spirit, a club that the Arrows beat in Pittsburgh last week to take a 1-0 lead in this best-of-2 series. Now, Ray, everything would point to a New York convincing victory here tonight.
Maybe so, because they're home. They won the first game, but I think it's going to be a little more difficult than that. I spoke to the coaches of the Pittsburgh team, and they said that they're going to make a few adjustments. They're going to reorganize a little bit. They've learned from their mistakes, and the team is motivated and ready to go. And I'm looking for Pittsburgh to come out in a very strong fashion and maybe even try to get on the boards first.
Well, if they do, it'll be a monumental task. All the Arrows have really done is win their last 20 games here in the Nassau Coliseum. That's not a bad go. All right, we're going to go right now to our national anthem. We'll be back in a moment. Gary, do you want me to cue the commercial? All right, in Long Island, the Nassau Veterans Coliseum. Jim Carvelis and Ray Klebeck. Steve Jungle scored 90 goals during the regular season. He had a 3-goal hat trick, his 19th of the season in the first game of the playoffs in Pittsburgh last Sunday. And it's just an incredible score, Ray. What else can you say?
There's not much more, and I think that I've seen him play many, many times now, last year as well as this year, and each game he shows a little bit something else. He shows a different dimension of what he can do. So I always love to watch him play. I love to get him into the attacking third because his quickness and his level of skill is just something to behold. And I think if you're going to pay the price of admission, then I think it's worth just to see Steve Zungel score goals, because he does it better than anyone around. And I think he might have set a record that's going to be almost unsurpassed in the future years. I hate to say this because records are made to be broken, but he definitely is the Babe Ruth and of the MISL, that's for sure.
Well, last March the 9th, in fact, the New York Arrows lost their last home game here, and ironically it was to Pittsburgh, 7-6 in overtime. That's the last time they've lost a game in the Nassau Veterans Coliseum, and Shep Messing doesn't look too nervous about tonight's game. Of course, you and I both know that Shep is a great money player. He's always really played well in big matches. Maybe that's why he's not nervous. Pittsburgh this year set the league record for 13 straight wins during the year. Right now, New York has 12 straight, so they could tie that record if they beat Pittsburgh here tonight. And the winner of tonight's action will play the winner of Houston and Wichita this Sunday evening in the home of the Atlantic Division winner, which would be either Pittsburgh or New York. All right, game underway now. Ray, let's talk a little bit about this Pittsburgh club.
Okay, we got Charles now with the ball. Pittsburgh is going to come out and let Buttle control the game. If Buttle controls their offense, then I think Pittsburgh is in good shape. If Buttle is not in the game, then look for Pittsburgh to be in a great deal of difficulty. And early on, Buttle is up on top. Cheela's matched up with him, and see, he's coming back to get the ball. He wants the ball, and I think that's a good thing for Pittsburgh.
All right, Pittsburgh on the attack, and the gold jerseys trimmed in black. Typical Pittsburgh colors. The city of champions, Pittsburgh. Actually, when you think about it, in the last 14 months, they've had 3 world champions, the Steelers twice and the Pirates, and the Arrows trying to break that streak here tonight. Clive Charles, a good defender, back to Manis. Manis with a lot of pressure on him. He's their number 2 goalkeeper, and here he's been slotted into the most important match of the year for him. And Ray's going to be talking to him. Well, he talked to him before the game. We're going to see that interview at halftime.
Pete's confident, though. He knows it's a very, very important game, and it's a critical game for him in terms of his career. He knows he's got the shot, and he wants to do well, and I think he's confident. I think this is his opportunity. So let's look for Pete early on when he might be nervous. After the first 4 or 5 minutes, I think he'll be in the game, and he'll do Pittsburgh proud.
All right, foul against Pittsburgh. Franco Zagota is that's Chilla there, outstanding defender for New York. Zagota did not play in the first game of the playoff series in Pittsburgh with that leg injury, but he's got the thigh wrap, and he is in evidence tonight.
Yeah, actually, Bronco had a slight hamstring pull, and Alex Inote, the trainer, has been working on it now for the last 10 days or so, and everybody feels he's about 100%. I think he's got the wrap there, just sort of a precautionary kind of a thing, and let's look for Bronco to do something today because he's definitely ready.
Nothing game. MISL playoff soccer. The winner tonight advances to the finals. If New York is a winner, the final will be played Sunday evening right here in Long Island. If Pittsburgh comes out and wins, as a hard shot is deflected by Manis into the crowd.
Val Tuxa is known for taking that type of a shot. Val has got the strength in his leg to take a shot from 30 feet out and cause a problem to goalkeepers, and he took a good shot and turned into a corner kick. So it's an advantageous type of situation for the Arrows now.
If Pittsburgh upsets New York tonight, the championship game would be played Tuesday in Pittsburgh. Pass into Jungle in the box. It was knocked away by Leaper. Jungle miskicked it, and out comes Graham Fife, who just came on the field. Fife also an outstanding goal scorer for this club. Alberto picked off a careless pass. Centers toward the goal mouth area as it snaked along the glass. Tuxa, Strenisser for New York, back to Val Tuxa. Left-footed shot, goal!
Okay, early on in the game, Pete Manos still a little bit nervous. The ball went around the top post. He missed it. Strenisser had the shot, didn't take it because he doesn't have the kind of shot that Tuxa has. Tuxa got the ball, a hard, low drive, and good goal. See, Strenisser had the shot and gave it up to Tuxa. Strong left-footed shot by Val. Good shot.
And again, the kind of shot that's so difficult for a goalkeeper to hang on to because it's low. And it's much more difficult for a goalkeeper to get down to stop a shot than it is if it was up where he could deflect it with his hands or with his body. So it's a well-taken shot.
Well-taken shot. Indoors or out, that's one of the most toughest shots for a goalkeeper to save. It doesn't look as spectacular as the one that rips into the back of the net, but in terms of effectiveness, a much more effective shot.
All right, Jungle knocked the ball away. Took his pass intended for Julie V. Off the mark. Julie in the ball game and roll back to Manis. Kyle Rowe Jr. showed up tonight. I know he's had some terrible problems. You people around the country should know that the weather here in New York has been abominable all day long. The winds and the rain. There's a shot by Jungle off the mark. Tuxa now laying it along the right side. New York putting on pressure. No foul called. Inside, Julie V. And the ball awarded to Pittsburgh. There's Pete Manis. A lot of pressure on him tonight. The youngster from Wilmette, Illinois. Kyle, I know the weather's been terrible. I was told you couldn't fly into New York. Had to fly to Baltimore and Newark and rent a car and come down here. But well, as soon as we get a microphone, we do. We'll welcome you aboard.
Oh, I feel like I need to take a shower. I have just tried to fight the Cross Long Island Expressway, and I'm just glad that I made it safely.
We are as well. All right, Trikovic of Pittsburgh now. 1-0 New York on top. We're in the first quarter. Jim Carvelis, Ray Klevecka, Kyle Rowe Jr. Pass to Julie V., one of the most skillful players in the league. Great ball control, great soccer player. Trying to lead it through to Jungle and was picked off the boards by Manis. What about Julie V.?
Julie V. perhaps is the most skillful player in the league on pure technical skill. Zungel in the attacking third by far is the most skillful in terms of converting balls into goals. But all over the field, I think Julie B would have to be rated as number 1.
Streniser drew the foul. And Buttle, the thin man, there he is.
Julie
he had
B,
a hat trick in that 5-3 loss to New York, excuse me.
Just to get back to Julie a bit, he's a very tall man. He's a tall man, and he uses his body very well. He's a broad-shouldered fellow, and he uses his body very, very well, and I think that people would look at him play when he's in possession. He's a good study.
Ray and Kyle, that was some pass by Pittsburgh. They had Buttle going in, and lucky for the Arrows that he didn't have a very good angle. Messing came out and cut off whatever angle he did have. All right, DeRico in now for New York as he rolls the ball at Julie B. Now he chips it towards Jungle along the right boards. Jungle got away. Shot goal! That is vintage Jungle, Kyle.
Well, that's just what Ray Klavecka was talking about in the attacking zone. Jungle takes half chances and he puts them away cleanly. Ball did come off the boards, and it was a defender got caught going into the boards, but here's Jungle with his left foot this time. Once again, it's hit hard, but it's more of a deceptive shot than a blast shot, the way Segota would have hit that shot.
I think Steve was sort of curving it away from Pete Manos. Pete Manos came back and got caught leaning back a little bit, and Steve sort of curved it to the lower corner. And again, second goal, a hard low shot as opposed to a high shot. Goalkeepers have a problem with those shots.
Steve Jungle is consistent. Now, he's played in 4 playoff games in his MISL career, and he's had a hat trick, at least a hat trick in all 3. And he's off to a good start in Game 5.
He sure is. It's 9:53 to go, and I think Pete Manos now has to make a couple of saves. If Pete doesn't make a few saves now, I think it's going to be a little bit bleak for Pittsburgh. So let's look for Pete to come up with a save or 2 right now.
All right, O'Hara plays it back now to Charles. 2-0 New York on top, the second game of this best-of-2 playoff. You might ask, what do you mean best-of-2? What happens if Pittsburgh ties it up? Well, we'll go into a 15-minute mini game. Addy Coker on for New York now. I tell you, Pittsburgh not getting back very well on defense. They are back now, but they've had too many. Seems to me there's a lot of room for them. New York.
They seem to have been taken aback by the 2 goals. They seem to be sort of struggling a little bit now, and I think that in a minute or so they'll settle down. The key is not to take another goal and perhaps get into the Arrows attacking third and take a shot of their own to sort of build up their confidence. But the key is not to lose possession now. Let's hold the ball a little bit and get back into this game.
Arshani, Molnar, DeRico all in there now for New York, along with Addy Coker and Chillip. And now a foul call against New York.
Pushing violation against the Arrows.
The key player for Pittsburgh in the attacking third is Buttle. And now they are beginning to look for Buttle, and I think that's the right way to go, because with Buttle handling the ball in the attacking third, he creates problems. Okay, here you are. He's getting by, and that's why he's fouled, and he's a dangerous play in that attacking third.
Buttle only weighs 138 pounds, but as he said, that's okay, because when I go dribble past bigger players, I just get to laugh more.
Well, Klavecka wasn't a bad center forward in college. How much do you weigh? Seriously. How much do you weigh?
Oh, 150.
All right.
150 pounds. I think his quickness and control and a little bit of courage up there.
That's the beauty of this game, is you don't have to be a big guy. Chula's shot is knocked away by Manis. That's the one thing that's impressed me all year long about this New York club. I mean, we know Segota and Jungle and B are great, but their defenders come flying out of nowhere, and they'll bomb one too.
Chila, Tuxa, they can really let it fly, and when Harsani's in it, he can hit it as well. So they've got a very potent type of offensive machine.
All right, Molnar leaves it for DeRico over the line now. DeRico now coming in on goal, cross over to Addy Coker, left to the box. Arshani in the box for Coker, almost deflected. Well, it was deflected back to the goalkeeper. Dangerous little flick back to the goalkeeper.
Dangerous, but Pete was on it. He read it, and I think he was there. So it looked a little more dangerous than it really was.
And Adrian Webster back in action.
Adrian Webster back in action now for Pittsburgh. Curtis Leeper's on. Trikovich is on. This is for Pittsburgh, and New York wins the ball again. Here comes Gene Streniser to Hassanyi. New York on the attack. They lead 2-0. 7.5 minutes to play in the first quarter here at the Veterans Coliseum, the Nassau Veterans Coliseum in Long Island, New York. Curtis Leeper. Pittsburgh down early, 2-0. You got to think that Popovich really loves this start because if his players were going to be a bit overconfident tonight, he's hoping they could get off very, very early and get something going.
Both coaches were talking about that early on. Both coaches wanted to score that first goal. They thought that the first goal would be a key goal, and Popovich got off with the first goal. So now it's Pittsburgh's job to get back into it.
First and the second goal for New York. Luis Alberto, skillful defender. What a nice pass to Zagota along the left boards in the zone. Leaper plays Bronco Zagota. He's got Coker. Plays it to Addy. Good play by Webster. Knocked back in by Streniser.
Perhaps Bronco held the ball a little bit too long. Addy was there, and Bronco held it, hoping for a better position. Giving the ball up just a little bit early, I think, would have been a better result. And I think the next time, Bronco will give it up just a bit earlier.
All right, here comes Luis Alberto over the line. Leaves it for Zagota on the right wing. Zagota's shot, a good save by Manis that time, and a foul on Coker. 2-0 New York on top. You're watching MISL playoff action.
The New York attack in the last 8 games that they've played. But as you said, they were only able to score 3 goals themselves, and the New York defense is tremendous.
And one of those came, and it was really all over. It was a 5-2 game, and they not pulled their goalkeeper, but put a shirt on Clive Charles. New York, again, so many people pay attention to the great goal scoring of Jungle, who now has 94 regular season and playoffs, and Zagota and V and all that. But in Shep Messing, they have an outstanding goalkeeper. And guys like Tuxa and Arshani and Alberto, Satevsky, they've got some pretty good defense.
I was just going to mention Satevsky. To me, Satevsky plays a very quiet but a very important role, and sometimes maybe the fans overlook his contribution, but from a coaching point of view, really, you cannot overlook Satevsky's contribution. He does a great job for Popovich.
And Philadelphia will never forget the 6 goals he scored against them.
That's right.
And on a given day, he can also put it in the net. Exactly.
Again, another defender for New York that looks like as good an attacker as anybody has in the league from time to time. All right, here's McNichol of Pittsburgh now in the middle of the field. If you're just tuning in, it's 4:55 to play first quarter. Nassau Veterans Coliseum. MISL Championship playoff, 2-0 New York on top of Pittsburgh. New York won the first game last Sunday in Pittsburgh 5-3. If they win this game here tonight, they're going to qualify to play right here Sunday evening against the winner of Houston and Wichita. And what a playoff game they had the other night. Of course, Wichita doesn't know how to play anything but a playoff game these days, but they lost in overtime to Houston. And Kyle, I know you lived down in Houston. What was the reaction to that win?
Well, it was a great win in overtime, and in fact, last night, Houston's victory over Wichita now puts Houston into the final come Sunday night. But they've played 6 games this year. Each game has been a 1-goal game. 4 of those games have gone in overtime, so certainly they have the most competitive rivalry in the Major Indoor Soccer League.
So Houston waiting for the winner of tonight's game to play Sunday evening right here.
All right, Pittsburgh is beginning to do some of the things that they had hoped to do early in the game. They're maintaining a little more possession in the attacking third. Oh, an error. All right, they got away a little bit lucky, but prior to that error, they were maintaining possession in the middle third, quieting the Arrows' potent attack down a little bit by keeping possession. If the Arrows don't have the ball, they can't score the goal. And Pittsburgh kept the ball a little bit, then use Buttle a little bit, and I think that's the right way for them to go.
Julie V showed you some of that skill there, but I think he should have wound up and hit the shot or passed it a little sooner.
Probably pass a little sooner.
Hard shot off the boards. That was really an attempted pass. The ball coming free, rolls across the line, as you saw, taken right off the line, and Pittsburgh very fortunate there.
Again, Pete's still a little bit hesitant and nervous. He didn't know if he should kick it or pick it up. He realized he was outside the line and he couldn't pick it up. So a costly mistake that did not result in a goal.
Mickey Cave in there now for Pittsburgh. Mickey didn't play in that game in Pittsburgh last Sunday, but he's on here tonight. Mickey's a good goal scorer.
I think it's at this time of the game, I think that Pittsburgh needs some goal scorers or some people who potentially could take a shot at the goal, because a goal would then turn a game back into a more balanced kind of an affair.
Red line violation.
So referee Gino DiPolito.
does a fine job. Gino, a professional referee, and it's good that he's doing this game. It's a very important game, and he's a fine referee.
With one hand in the air, that indicates it's an indirect free kick, meaning the ball must touch another player before it can go into the goal.
McLaughlin breaks it up for New York. Now Luis Alberto of the Arrows. Arrows coming on the attack. Off the boards, Julie V. Back to the lanky McLaughlin. You know, he played well last Sunday. Ray?
Yeah.
McLaughlin on defense.
Well, Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh team doesn't really have a star defender or anybody that they really rely on to play some good defense. They basically rely on a team concept on defense, starting up at the forward line. The forwards get back and play defense, and all the defenders, of course, then their job is a little bit easier.
Shot by Graham Fife.
Graham Fife, and you saw Messing just smother the ball against the boards.
Okay, as you can see, the forwards are now checking, and they're giving the defense a chance to set up.
Julie V. misread the bounce off the boards, and here's Manis, who's been under the gun. Adrian Webster, a big key for this club. DeRico, Fife going for the ball, but Alberto will get to it first. Time remaining in the first quarter, 2:18. 2-0 New York on top of Pittsburgh. MISL playoffs. And New York looking for the right to meet Houston for the championship.
Again, Curtis Leeper now put a little bit of pressure up front and caused the offside pass. And this is what Pittsburgh has to do. They have to put a little bit of pressure in the attacking third, cause the Arrow defenders to rush their passes and perhaps make errors, cause interceptions, and get back into this game. That was well done by Curtis Leeper.
And Alan Trost now in action.
Fife along the boards loses that battle to DeRico. Dave DeRico, tough youngster from New Jersey. And here comes Sutevsky on the right now. Trost in the game. Al Trost, he wears the number 12. This is DeRico. Jungle lays it off to Chilla, coming up on the attack, overlapping. Renato Chilla against the boards, getting away from Trikovic. Played to Sutevsky, and he is dumped and fouled by Webster. Adrian Webster, that's the most obvious foul of the night. I could have called that. I did.
No question about that one, but he was beat. Again, Sutevsky shows a little bit of speed. He took that one step and he was gone, and the foul had to be taken because they were afraid of a shot on goal.
Webster's nickname is the Shadow, and obviously the Shadow got a little bit away from the person that time, and in coming back, came back a little bit too rough.
Looked like the Hammer that time. There's a free kick. Manis handles it in the air.
Those kind of balls in the indoor game are not dangerous. It's an outdoor game. That's an outdoor ball. In the indoors, it's a goalkeeper's ball, and it's really...
That's a good point, Ray, because we haven't seen much of that this year where a guy flicks it up in the air like that.
Right, because it doesn't pay. The goalkeeper's the master in that area, and it's just a lost ball for an alert goalkeeper.
All right, Mickey Cave. All right, Al Trost breaks it up, stays in the ball, and now it's broken up by the good defender Clive Charles, who gets it back again. Pittsburgh looks a bit disorganized to me. I don't think they're really, I'm sure they have a good game plan because Billis has done a great job with them, but I think the players are a bit hesitant here. They just don't look like they know where they're going, Ray.
I think they're still suffering from those two goals. I think they haven't really recovered from that first goal especially, and I think they're not getting into their rhythm. If they don't take a goal for the remainder of the quarter, I think then Lenny will reorganize them, and let's see what happens at the beginning of the second quarter. But they've got to last out now this quarter with a 2-0 score.
All right, 42 seconds to play in the first quarter. New York on top, 2-0, the defending champions. Jungle with the ball against O'Hara. Jungle still stays on it, 30 seconds. Sutevsky, not a very good return pass to Jungle. DeRico gets there ahead of Cave, plays it back to Chilla. Chilla to Sutevsky, to Al Trost. Trost to Jungle, beautiful pass to Chilla. Wheels off the boards, plays it in front, easy for Manis. Mickey Cave. Slow build-up for Pittsburgh.
I think they're waiting for the clock. I think they want to maintain possession for the quarter, and they're waiting for the clock.
Well, they ran out the clock.
That's it. I think that's what they wanted to do.
Well, that's the end of the first quarter with a score. The New York Arrows 2 and the Pittsburgh Spirit 0. We'll be back with the start of the second quarter in just a moment. Chips will continue at 12 p.m. tomorrow on most of these same cable systems. Tracy Austin, Billie Jean King, and Martina Navratilova are just 3 of the 8 great women's stars competing in this event. So tune in early and see who will be crowned the world's #1 women's tennis player. That's noon tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, on most of these same cable systems. Shep Messing, who always seems to have a love affair with the crowd, looking very, very concerned. Jim Carvelis, Ray Klavecka, and Kyle Rowe Jr. Hope you're enjoying championship missile action. Ray?
Yes, I was talking to Shep before the game, and he said that I said to him, oh, how do you feel? You're a veteran. How do you feel? He says, you know, Ray, I like to get away. And he says, I like to get away and just get away from the wife and the family and just to get away before the game. He says, that's how I get ready. I want to just get away, relax. He says, I go into the city, I take a drive, I go get a meal at a restaurant. I just get away and I organize myself. Because I don't do anything special to psych myself up. I just want to relax. I want to get away, and then I'm ready.
Well, if his wife buys it, who am I to argue? I mean,
As we take a look at Len Billis, or we just saw Lenny Billis, the coach of Pittsburgh, and some of the fans here tonight. Interesting coaching strategy by Houston coach Ken Cooper. Flew his troops in here today so that they'd have a chance to watch this game in person and scout the team with their own eyes instead of on tape.
how did they get in here?
I should say they were scheduled to get in here around 3. They may still be up in the air.
We had 60-mile-an-hour winds at the airports here in the New York area. Very dangerous. The commissioner couldn't get in here, or Earl Foreman. A lot of people. Kyle just showed up, and it's been very dangerous. Okay. And it's really held the crowd down, too. I mean, they were expecting over 10,000 here tonight. They still have a darn good crowd considering the weather conditions, but it really took a couple thousand people away.
I think they had an advance of about 8.5, so I think it was a realistic 11, maybe 10.5, 11 crowd, but the weather is just impossible.
All right, we've changed ends of the field. O'Hara rolls it down to Manis, who fires it out toward Trikovic. Trick controlling the ball now, played by Zagota. Rocco, who was the 3rd leading scorer in the MISL. Number 2 was Fred Gergerev. And number 1, of course, was Steve Jungle, who scored 90 during the regular season. He scored 4 during the playoffs already. And he's got a very good chance to score 100 goals total this season, and that's incredible. I mean, that's almost obscene.
I think, no, I don't know. It's not obscene. I think it's really a tribute to his talent, Jimmy, really.
No doubt about that.
I mean, in the indoor game, you pick up some lucky goals, of course, and everybody scores his share. But you watch him game in and game out. He can do it.
Here's Fife. Bad control that time by Fife. Actually, on one of his dribbles, he played the ball too far out in front of him, and he kind of lost control. Then all he could do was try to center it.
But Shep came out and put a little bit of pressure on him, so we've got to give Shep a little bit of credit. He put the pressure on Fife, and maybe that caused him to miscue a little bit.
Well, Ray, you know, Kyle and I were saying, you know, late in the season that, and we've also heard it from coaches, that the goalkeeping is something that, all right, let's watch the shot by O'Hara off the mark. Trikovic couldn't chest it down quickly enough, so he has no shot. Tries to bank it. It's broken up nicely by Strenicer. Sets Zagota running. Franco against Leeper on the left side, and Leeper made the play. Zagota doesn't look like he's moving that gingerly to me.
Now, Zagota's moving on, but Curtis is out there.
There's Zungel with a back heel bank off the boards. It's picked off by Pittsburgh, and some good defensive work being done there by Trikovic. He's fouled by Tuxa. But Kyle and I were saying, we're starting to realize, such a new game, just how important the goalkeepers are in this game.
They're very important, and early in the season, it's always hard for outdoor goalkeepers to adjust off the shots off the glass and off the wall. And as the season progressed, they began to adjust to those shots, and they reacted very well.
All right, we're taking a shot now from our end zone
Now we're
camera.
talking about the goalkeeper, and that's the view that he basically sees.
That's right.
And they've adjusted very well now, and most of the goalkeepers, especially in playoff competition, have done a superb job.
All right, here's another good reason we like to show you that from time to time is that it kind of gives you the perspective, as Ray said, of the goalkeeper, but also it's like watching a football game from the end zone. Great shot and a goal by Mickey Cave. Mickey Cave, that's as good a goal as you'll ever see, boy. That was the only spot he could really beat Messing at that far corner, and he hit a bullseye.
He hit it very well, and he hit it on the run, and what happened was the Shep, I think, was caught a little too deep in the goal. Perhaps he should have been out a little bit. Let's watch it again. See, Shep seemed to be a little bit off balance, Kyle. I watched Shep on a replay. Seemed not to be ready, a little bit off balance. But Mickey did really rip it.
Now, can I tell you something? I know, Ray, you're going to remember this. When Shep won a NASL championship in New York, and they beat Seattle 2-1, a club that Cave played for, by the way, the goal scored by Tommy Ward in that game was the same kind of a goal where Shep was off balance to his left and the ball went the other way.
Exactly. But let's give Mickey a lot of credit because he hit it very hard.
Yes.
And he hit it to the far post, which is a good shot. Hit it with the outside of his foot, and it was curving. So it's all the credit goes to Mickey. No doubt about it.
We're not blaming Shep because, as we said, that's as good a goal as you'll see because Cave had a very small target area to hit, and he hit it. And that should really give Pittsburgh, Kyle, a little more momentum here. Give them a little verve and energy.
Sure will, but interesting enough, Mickey Cave was on that Seattle team.
He was.
In the playoffs.
Right. That's right.
One thing about the goalkeepers that New York has not had the problem with is that teams are having to use so many goalkeepers that communication, as Buttle's on the ball, is so critical to work your second goalkeeper into it.
Buttle took a couple of shots. At the second one on the volley, as you saw, was blocked down, and Pittsburgh is a little excited. Here comes Julie V now. He's got Jungle on the left side. He's got Sutevsky trailing. Banks it in front. Jungle saved by Manis. Good reaction by Manis that time in front. I don't know, maybe that goal kind of perked up New York. It looks like they're going a little harder now.
I think they're mad.
All right, Sutevsky in the box, knocked away, rolling out. Manis made a great save. Manis stuck out a hand. I can't believe he got that. It looked like he was on the ground helpless.
But I think he reacted. He's a good athlete. When you stand up close to Pete Manis, you see he's a good athlete. He's got a fine athletic body, and he reacted very well. And this is where a goalkeeper has to be a good athlete.
All right, they had a 3-on-2 that time, and McNichol was injured on the play. McNichol, actually, had McNichol gotten rid of the ball a little earlier, they might have had something there. They had a 3-on-2 break, and he stayed on the ball too much, and he paid the price for it too, Kyle.
Well, Strenisher there knew that they were in a 3-on-2 break against them and played the pass lane, forcing that ball to be blocked away.
All right, here's Leaper, head of the box, playing it in the box, intending it for Trikovic, and it's broken up. I really like Chilla, by the way. Kyle. I mean, talk about a guy that doesn't get a lot of credit. He's steady. Another save by Manis in the goal mouth.
Okay, you see now Manis is getting into the game. He's made those 2-3 saves that he needed to get himself into the game. Now he's in the game. The score is only 2-1, so I think it's now pretty even now. I think we can see Pittsburgh get back into it.
All right, here comes Jungle, and he hit the glass. Steve Jungle. You know, another reason you have to be impressed with 94 goals is you know that every time Jungle steps on the floor, everyone's looking for him.
There's a man on him. There's a man on him from the moment he steps on.
Sometimes 2, sometimes 3.
That's right.
And he has still done it. Trikovic, now they're going to call obstruction. Obstruction against the defender, Chilla.
Chilla shaking hands, hoping that he could keep the referee from calling more than just that. But Jungle is one of only 3 players for New York that's played in every game this year. So he's not only skillful, but is very resistant to injury, which you like to see in your forwards. There we saw the obstruction call. Okay, the forward was getting past the defender. The defender was caught a little bit flat-footed. The forward was by him, and I think Chilla had to foul him to preserve a breakaway. That's the difference. There's a lot of similarities between this game and basketball game. That would have been a charging call in basketball. Trikovic, a bad pass here. Leaper looking for a loose ball as Strenisher went down. Here comes Fife. Loose ball. Arshani tried to clear it. Now here's Clive Charles of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh down 2-1 now as they've broken the ice here in the second period. Ball off the boards. Chilla running. Charles took it away. It's 3-on-3 for Pittsburgh. Charles against Harsani. Outside, Leaper. Shot goal!
Oh, a great goal. A great goal.
Great deflection goal by Graham Fife, and we have a 2-2 game now. Look out.
Curtis Leaper's not known for scoring, and he's not known for taking shots at the goal. He's out there to hustle and fight and win loose balls and create that type of damage.
Well, watch
there's the blast.
Fife
with the inside of his heel. Let the ball go between his legs and hit it with the inside of his right heel past the diving Shep Messing, who was at the near post.
That's the kind of a play that you see in South America. That's a Brazilian play, an Argentinian type of play, and it's a great goal. And the game is now 2-2, and anything can happen from now on in.
All right, we have a tie game. 9:05 to play. They did that in 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Alberto's pass is knocked away. Pittsburgh has the ball. Adrian Webster rolls it back to Manis. And you got to give this guy some credit because Manis kept the game at 2-0. It could have been 4-0
right.
or 5-0. It would have been all over. He kept them in.
He got into it and made some very, very key saves.
Alberto attacking. Really skillful player. Luis, as I say that, makes a very average pass to Harsan. How do you say that? I said Harshani, Harsani. How do you say it, Ray?
Harshani. I
Harshani.
think he says Harshani.
Kyle, how do you say it?
Arshani as well.
Okay.
I tell you, he can play, though, so it's okay.
That's 2 out of 3.
And a foul called against Alberto, fouling Buttle, the thin man.
I think Buttle picks up a lot of fouls. I think he draws them well. He shields the ball. He shields the ball, and he handles the ball a great deal. He draws a lot of fouls. He takes a beating. He's a skillful player, and he's very courageous. Look where he's going. Right on top of the box with Val Tuxa.
Louis Alberto. 2 minutes.
All right, 2 minutes for Alberto for tripping. So now we have our first man advantage. Let's look at the penalty now.
Alberto, 2 minutes. Tripping.
Well, he was trying to get the ball. It wasn't as if he went in hard to hurt him, but he did trip him.
Yeah, he tripped him. I don't know if it was a 2 minute, but Gino's on
I'm
it.
not
He
so
made
sure
the
it
call.
was either. Because it wasn't really a vicious tackle where he might have broken his leg. He was really trying to get the ball. All right, here's Charles now. Pittsburgh with a great opportunity now. They've tied the game after being down 2-0. It's 2-2. They have a man advantage for another minute 36. Off the boards. And a good play made in there by Tuxa away from Buttle, who could have had a shot there.
Buttle is there. You see, this is it. He's the key. He's always in the box. And now he's moving, and now they're looking for him. See him in the box? There he goes.
McKenzie's shot knocked down. I believe that was knocked down by Tuxa more than Messing. And roll back to Manis. You see, when a team has a man advantage, Kyle, the goalkeeper plays an important part on the team that has the man advantage because he's got to come out, and when the ball comes into the zone, he's got to save time by moving the ball back quickly on offense. Charles' shot is high off the glass. Collected by Graham Fife, who scored the second goal, a great deflection. Plays it out to McKenzie. Pittsburgh looking for a way in to Charles at the left point. Off the boards in front, knocked away nicely by Streniser. Harshani to Tuxa to Streniser. New York, a nice job of holding the ball now. Get it back to Harshani. Harshani will roll it to Streniser and out of Messing. They really ate up a lot of the clock, and we have only 32 seconds to go on the penalty.
Very well done by New York. A lot of poise and good technical ability, and Harshani just stumbled and lost the ball, but Tuxa's got it again.
All right, McKenzie banks it up the boards to Mickey Cave. Here comes Mickey playing it to Buttle. Buttle's knocked down off the ball by Streniser. Now McKenzie. 10 seconds. 10 seconds of the penalty, Ray and Kyle. Here's Clive Charles. Play it to Mickey Cave. Cave with a left foot. Deflected by Tuxa. Nice play. Here comes Val Tuxa. He's got B on the right side. Running 2-on-2. Lead it for B. Not a good pass. Back to Manis. And the penalty is over. Equal strength.
Arrows did a very nice job in running out the clock by maintaining possession in their defensive third. Showed a lot of poise and let the clock run. I think a great deal of credit has to go to the penalty-killing team of the Arrows in that last sequence.
Kyle Sutevsky's in the game now for Harshani. And a whistle and a foul is going to be called on Val Tuxa. He knocked Buttle down.
Stepping against New York.
All right, we'll be back with more MISL action in just a moment. Crowd. You might say, why did Shep go up? He knew the ball was going high. I think Shep wanted to prevent the rebound. He was going up trying to smother it on the glass so it wouldn't come out where Trikovich would have a shot.
I think the goalkeepers, as we were talking earlier, have learned now that that rebound above the glass coming out again is a very dangerous shot. So they're willing to even give up a corner kick because at least they can set up against the corner kick, and the shot off the glass becomes a very, very tough shot for them to save in case of a rebound coming in.
Good shot of Peter Manis there, who was very shaky early on, gave up 2 early goals. But he has really, really done the job. He's made some outstanding saves, kept his club in. And his club, the Pittsburgh Spirit, got 2 goals of their own, and it's a brand new game at 2-2. McLaughlin knocked it into the crowd. The referee says no penalty, Pittsburgh appealing. But it was in the middle of the field, and there was really no reason to think he was trying to delay the game by knocking it into the crowd.
No, he was in a disadvantageous position. He was falling, and he just tried to get the ball upfield. And I think the referee made the correct decision on that one.
Butler in now for Pittsburgh. The lead pass to Butler got around McLaughlin momentarily. Messing came out to make the play. Shep now rolls it to Luis Alberto. Houston against a winner tonight will play either Sunday if New York wins here in New York, or Tuesday if Pittsburgh upsets New York in Pittsburgh. All right, now it's anyone's game. Peter Manis will be the halftime guest of Ray Clavecca. We taped that before the game, and then John Luciani, the owner of this New York Arrows club, will also be up here live. So you want to stay tuned for that. Sutevsky, nice play and good distribution to Alberto. Go to Sutevsky, off the glass and off the arm of Manis, and right back to Manis from Leaper. And now it's Trikovic the other way for Pittsburgh. The action picking up. Trikovic now over the midfield line into the New York zone. Stoyan Trikovic away from Sutevsky, still battling for the ball. Good job by Stoyan. And now here's Curtis Leaper with 4:10 to play in the half. Webster rolls it to Trikovic. Pretty good game.
Yes, it has picked up now. Now that Pittsburgh's back in it, I think it's a very good game, and you could hear the buzzing in the crowd. I think the crowd is really appreciating it, because early on the Arrows dominated.
Yes.
Pittsburgh is in it now, and I think it's becoming a very good game.
All right, Pittsburgh pulling it off. There was Napolitano who had just come out of the field to steal the ball. The fans thought there should have been a foul call. Alberto stole the ball from Adrian Webster. Luis Alberto now. Pittsburgh getting back on defenso, and Luis is dumped and fouled by Mickey Cave.
Mickey Cave was drawn into that foul. Luis saw him coming, slowed down, shielded the ball, and then Mickey just ran over him. And that was a very wise play by Alberto. It's a play of a veteran.
You might have been able to hear the crowd that was asking for 2 minutes, because they felt it was the same kind of penalty. There was a free kick by Jungle. Felt it was the same kind of penalty that Alberto got put in the box for.
A similar one, and of course it's a New York crowd, and they want that 2 minute. They want that equalizer of the 2 minute penalty.
What a great year it's been for this major indoor soccer league. A tremendous season. It's seen, I think, great competition. New York kind of ran away from everyone, but apart from New York, the series between Houston and Wichita was such a great one. The Detroit club hung in there. That Buffalo club, after having a horrendous middle of the season, came on to win 6 straight games and qualify for the playoffs. They did a great job there, and crowd-wise as well. And the St. Louis club, that wasn't an artistic success on the field, led the league in attendance, which just goes to prove how good this product really is.
I think it's interesting to note that right up until the last 2 games of the season, everybody except for Hartford, I think, still had a shot at a mathematical shot at being in the playoffs. So
incredible.
It was an artistic success in terms of the crowd, but it was a very competitive season on the field as well. And I think a lot of credit has to go to the coaching staffs and the players. Yes. They really did a nice job.
Yes. And now somebody kicked down there.
Buttle got
That's Buttle.
Either kicked or it looks like he's holding his hamstring.
Steve Buttle.
6 playoff goals, 2 consecutive hat tricks. First against Buffalo. Here we see it again.
He's not even in the play right here. It's going to happen here. Now watch him. He's going to come in on the boards. Ball's going to go. Oh, that's where he got kicked. That was an inadvertent kick, by the way, by Julie V.
Julie V caught him with his knee into his thigh, and that's a very painful injury. Julie V's knee caught him above Buttle's knee into the fleshy part of the thigh, and I think he might be out for a little while, because it's a painful injury. Let's just hope that they ice it and he can get back in. Steve Buttle is critical to the Pittsburgh team.
No doubt. This program is authorized under rights granted by the Major Indoor Soccer League solely for the entertainment of our audience, and any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without including the imposition of charge for viewing the program without the express consent of the Major Indoor Soccer League is prohibited. Clive Charles talking to the referee, saying, well, we should have had at least a 2-minute penalty. I mean, you know, the guy got kicked pretty bad.
But the kick was, I think, inadvertent.
Yeah.
You know, it looked inadvertent. Maybe Julie did it a little bit, you know, but I think from where we sit, it looked like it was an inadvertent kick.
I think it was. I don't think V was going for him at all. And that's part of it. That's part of the intent. I think it has to do a little bit with the foul.
I think we must also recognize that the surface area is a much smaller one in the outdoor game. There are many more tackles in this game. There's much less room to avoid tackles.
Yeah.
And these things will occur. It's a natural part of the game.
Molnar to V and a save by Manis, who's really come up big here in the second period. And with 2:41 to play and a half, it's still 2-2 and a handball against New York.
Dino saw it very clearly, and Julie V looked at him and said, you know, hey, you know, but he was on it, and good call by the referee.
Cave toward Butler, and Messing made the play. To Gene Strenisser, a veteran player, Canadian citizen. Jungle to Molnar, back to Strenisser. Chilla breaking up the right side. Good ball by Strenisser. Chilla really never could bring it enough under control to bank it off the glass, hit it into the crowd. 2-2-2 to play in the first half. 2-2 is the score. 22 Manis in the goal.
You must have sounded like you're a numerologist or something.
Did you say deuces a while? Did you say deuces a while, Jimmy?
Steve Jungle, who has scored a goal here tonight. 19 hat tricks. That's incredible. All right, Adrian Webster with a free kick. 2-2 the score.
Leaper, McKenzie, and Webster.
Headed by Molnar, headed back out by McKenzie, and now off the glass, and Manis had to come out very quickly because there was Jungle looking for that opportunity. Now Pittsburgh's going to call a timeout. Len Billis wants to talk it over as Manis is going to come over and have a word with him.
I think it's a good timeout, and from a tactical point of view, because with 2 minutes and 11 seconds to go, the score is 2-2. Lenny Billis doesn't want his team to take a silly goal now and turn the game around. They've been playing very well. They've gotten back into the game, scored 2 very excellent goals, and I think Lenny wants to tell them, hey, let's not risk anything. If we can finish the half in a 2-2 tie, no problem. We're all right. Let's not risk too much, and let's not take a bad goal. And I think it's a wise timeout, and it's a good timeout for them to reorganize. On the other side, Pop, he's saying, "Hey, let's get up there and see if we can get one in." And and Pop is talking to Zungel, which is his main man, and it makes sense. Pop is talking to the main man that can turn it around for them again.
And as the referee's discussing, and those of you watching indoor soccer for the first time, Kyle, let's let the people know that we have an official on the field and someone over the boards that also helps him officiate.
Well, that's the reason for that, obviously, is because an official can only see 50% of the field at one time. And interestingly, as opposed to the outdoor game, the alternate official that we see in the box has a whistle in indoor soccer that he can stop play, which an outdoor linesman cannot do. So it takes a lot of coordination, and you can be sure that the officiating staff in indoor soccer spend several hours before the game going over how they want to coordinate their calls.
That's the voice of Kyle Rowe Jr. as he battled across the country today to get to the game. Cars, automobiles, was in every airport in the country, but he made it. And Ray Koloveka, an outstanding U.S. coach who was an All-American soccer player as well as an outstanding professional coach with the Cosmos, now with Rochester, and a gentleman who studied and likes this indoor game. And I'm very thankful I have such experts with me in the booth. All right, it's 1:48 to play in the first half. It's 2-2. That ball bounced off the handheld camera, I think, down there, and they kept it in play. Don't hurt our camera guys. Tough enough to do one of these games. All right, here's Julie V with a steal, and it's smothered by Manis. Shot, knocked down, a shot at it. Julie V. Manis just couldn't do it all himself.
Manis made the initial save, but credit has to be given to Julie V. Brought the ball in, penetrated very deeply. Manis made the initial save. He got the ball out, and Julie V is really responsible for this one, and a lot of credit has to be given to him.
But interestingly enough, this is just the reason why Pittsburgh called the timeout, to avoid this situation. Late here in the first half, here comes Strenicher. The ball deflected once again right back to Strenicher, this time with the left foot. Manis on the ground, unable to make the save.
You see what Jungle did that time? When one of those shots was taken, he went right over to Manis to try to screen him off, and actually had a little bit to do with that goal. Yeah, Terry, if we could kind of look at that again, I don't know if we can, but if you can pick it up back there again, you can see what Jungle really did. Maybe we'll pick it up a little later. Terry Lewicki, by the way, directing our game here this evening. All right, Molnar on the right side. Here's Jungle in front. B had it stripped that time. He was dangerous again.
All right, this is what makes the Arrows what they are. They can score 2 goals in 30 seconds. You know, this is what the potential for scoring is awesome. And then now Pittsburgh is in a little bit of trouble.
Well, great teams can do that. The Montreal Canadiens do it very well in hockey. Great teams have that potential, that ability to score goals in bunches. Jungle to B, knocked away. Trikovic with it, 42 seconds. New York now on top, 3-2. Here comes Molnar. Shot off the boards, came off long to Trikovic. Sends him running with 35 seconds. And it's 28 seconds of play now as Pittsburgh looks for the tying goal. McKenzie's shot knocked down in front. Rolled out to Julie V with 20 seconds. Watch the skillful Julie V. Gets around McKenzie. Races. Napolitano picks him up, and Manis picks up the ball.
But it's interesting to know that Zungel was there. Zungel was waiting.
That's right. He's always waiting. And now the clock stops with 4 seconds on a foul against Strenicer. Strenicer.
Against New York. Indirect free kick.
Indirect free kick now. That's Adrian Webster. They'll just try to probably lob it in the box and hope somebody will head it in. No, he doesn't. Gives it to McKenzie instead, who now lobs it toward the box. And that is the end of an exciting first half MISL playoff action. The conference final. That's the end of the second quarter, and the score is the New York Arrows 3, the Pittsburgh Spirit 2. We'll be back with our halftime activities in just a moment.
New York Arrows fan club.
And let's go to that right now.
Girls and all the lovely Saskatoon Arrowhead.
Hello, everyone. I'm with Pete Manos, the Pittsburgh Spirit goalkeeper. And, Pete, you're one of the veterans on this Pittsburgh team. Where did you come from? When did you get started?
Well, my hometown's Wilmette, Illinois, Ray, which is just north of Chicago. And started playing soccer in high school, really, when I was 14. And as you say, I'm one of the veterans on this team, but last year was the first year for it, so 2 years, if that makes me a veteran, then that's what I am.
What college did you attend, and where did you come from in terms of college ball?
I played college ball at Northern Illinois University under Dave Bucher. That's in DeKalb, Illinois, located about 60 miles west of Chicago. I don't know how many people know where DeKalb is. But after that, I started in the NASL with San Antonio, which moved to Hawaii in '77, and then a little stint with Dallas and a couple years in the ASL.
And now you're with Pittsburgh.
Right.
Listen, when we look at the Pittsburgh season, we know it's a season that had 2 parts. First, you were the Frogs, sort of mired in the swamps, and then the Princess came along and gave you a kiss, and Pittsburgh turned into a prince. Tell me about that.
Well, that's true. At the time that Len Billows joined us, we were 5-10, and as you say, we were the Frogs. We were up and down. We'd win a game, then lose a couple, then win one, then lose 2 or 3. And really, I don't think we were going anywhere. And Len came in, and lo and behold, we won 13 in a row, and that's a league record to this date, anyway.
That's right. Now, tell me, what was the exact difference? In other words, you had one coach, and then you had the team. And then Len Billis and John Kowalski came in. You still had the same team, basically, and then all of a sudden, everything turned around. Well, what did they really do? What kind of a magic touch did they have?
Well, you know, as you say, the personnel was the same. Our players didn't really change drastically as far as who they were. What happened was, I think, we had a little direction. They came in very well organized. They had a system of play. They got everybody thinking as one. And as you know, in a team game, that's very important. And we started winning. The momentum picked up, and we were on our way.
Okay, I'm a little bit interested now to ask you about the crowds in Pittsburgh, the fans. Here you were sort of struggling along, and then all of a sudden you began to win. How did the crowds react, and what happened in Pittsburgh?
Well, Pittsburgh's a city of champions, as I'm sure you're aware, and they were very excited about that 13-game streak, and attendance did pick up. We hit the 10,000 mark a couple of times. and they're very much behind us. We've got a few people here tonight, so hopefully we can do something for them.
Well, it's windy and it's blowing and it's raining, but the people are filling the arena because anytime Pittsburgh plays the Arrows, it's a real important game. And this one, of course, is probably the most important game next to the championship. And now let's talk a little bit about you. Here you are starting in a game against a big scoring machine.
Right.
What do you think?
Well, we're just going to have to try to shut them down and do what we can to keep the ball out of the net. That's my job, and hopefully our guys are going to put a few in the other end.
Okay, now I know that I came in on the tail end of your pregame talk. What are you going to do? What was supposed to be done a little bit different from the previous game?
Well, we've got a couple ideas that might work against New York. They're very explosive offensively, and we're going to come out flying from the start and just see what happens. Don't want to give you our trade secrets.
Great, no problem. We'll follow up on that. How about the MISL in general? Let's see what are your opinions on the indoor versus the outdoor game?
Well, from the goalkeeper standpoint, of course, it's very exciting. You know, Ray, you're seeing so many more shots. You've got the boards to contend with. Everything's in a tight spot.
You'd say it's a little more exciting.
Definitely.
I
enjoy it.
Great.
I'd like to say happy birthday to my mom if I could.
Okay, super.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan.
Right.
Let's have a good game.
Thank you.
All right. All right, and we'll return after the following words.
Hockey this coming Monday. The resurgent Washington Capitals trying to qualify for the Stanley Cup playoffs for the first time ever. They're playing great hockey against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who just the other night knocked off the Philadelphia Flyers 3-0 in Philadelphia. That's this coming Monday night, NHL hockey on the Madison Square Garden Sports Network. Tonight, it's MISL soccer, and standing by, Kyle Rote Jr. with the owner of the defending MISL champions, the New York Arrows.
We're back at halftime, and with our halftime score, the New York Arrows ahead of the Pittsburgh Spirit 3-2. And the gentleman that we're going to talk to at halftime is someone we just about had to beg to come up and talk with us. The reason I say that is that in professional sports, as you know, most owners like to have a very high profile. They like to be seen. They like to be quoted. Everyone, they want to, for the money that they put into it, they want to get something out of it. On the other hand, you have an owner like John Luciani, who, I guess your attitude is low-key. I almost never see you around. I know you're involved with the team, and yet you always take almost a backstage role. Why is that?
Well, Kyle, first of all, I enjoy the half times, like what's occurring down on the floor right now. You got to take a look down there. But no, you're right, I guess. I feel I do most of my work effectively with the team and not necessarily on interviews.
Your team obviously has been successful, undefeated this year at home. Had a great road record, 11-5, the only team in the MISL to be that successful. Did you have anything to do with their on-the-field success?
No, not I, Kyle. I really need to give the credit to Coach Popovich. He is the one that I really rely on to discover talent. He knows talent when he sees it, and I rely on him.
As far as the elements of success that you might be able to pinpoint, every game this year we have looked and we've seen more and more fans want to come into the stadium. Why does that happen? Because we've seen other franchises where that does not occur.
Well, of course, the sport itself, it's exciting, as you know. It's a high-scoring game, and we're building fans steadily. People that we get, at first we had youngsters really dragging their parents. Now it's the parents dragging the youngsters, and we're building a good, solid foundation.
And as we've seen from many of our crowd shots today, just the family-type activities that you have going on here at halftime with all the young kids playing on the field against some of the reserve players on the Arrows. What do we have to look forward to next year? We've talked about expansion. We talked to Ed Tepper and Earl Foreman. What can we expect in New York? Do you expect the team to go into the Garden?
Well, we are in discussions at the moment with a number of people who are thinking and considering about taking the Garden. Of course, as I have said, I would just as soon finish this season before I start thinking about that territory.
But I imagine with the type of rights that are granted to owners in this league, obviously they would have to get your permission to be able to move a club into the Garden.
Yes, that's very true.
Which could be very nice financially, I imagine, as well.
Well, look, when you have a major market, and of course New York is a major market, one of the things that occurs is that the market is large enough for more than one franchise. And of course the costs in operating in such a market, so it has to come someplace.
Well, once again, we congratulate you not only for your success on the field, but for the way in which you've run your operation. You talk to the New York Arrows players. They love their owner, John Luciani.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very much,
We'll be back with more halftime activities.
clubs have done so well. Don't count out that Hartford club. Also, they have some really good management. They've made some big management changes as well. They're hiring some players, some good players, and I know Mr. Chipman up there is going to have a good team. That's a great soccer area. You know that area.
I know that area very well, and it is a great area. And I think one of the unfortunate things for Hartford was that they did not have a home all year. And you can't play without a home, and now they have a home. So I'm looking forward to having Hartford come back strong next year. I think they can do it, because you're right, Jim, it is a great area.
Well, they got some good management people in there now with Chamberlain and young Stuart Foreman. So I think they're going to have an outstanding franchise.
What was nice to see, excuse me, Jim, is when they played their first game back at the newly rebuilt arena, they had over 12,000 fans.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a great sports area, no doubt about it. The Whalers of the NHL have been drawing very well out there. They're great sports fans there. It's a bright future for this league. All right, Leeper with the ball, rolls it back to Manis. Now, should Pittsburgh upset New York in this first game, the series would be tied at 1. We would commence a 15-minute mini game. Now, that's not sudden death. That means we would play the entire 15 minutes. If it was tied at the end of that, we'd go to a shootout. And New York fans know what it is to decide championship games or shootouts.
I have to say that I was there that day against Minnesota. I tell you, it was exciting.
All right, with the ball now. It's New York, and now intercepted by Clive Charles. Charles plays it to Mickey Cave, who scored the first Pittsburgh goal. The Leaper couldn't control it, stolen by Sutevsky. And a hard shot by Cave, and a goal! What a shot! Mickey Cave has scored 2 great goals tonight.
Another great shot by Mickey Cave into the upper far post. Similar situation as in the first half. He chose the far post to shoot for, and this one was in the upper corner. A great effort.
Boy, just a little mistake by Damir Sutevsky. He just didn't recover quickly enough, and Cave made him pay for it.
And again, the same kind of shot with the outside of his foot. The good follow through. Shep was helpless. It was from a far distance, but Shep was helpless because the shot was great. And as we said, the first few minutes of the second half will tell the story. And now I think Pittsburgh's back in it, and it's going to be a barn burner.
Clive Charles got the assist, but what a great effort by Cave. And it's anyone's game again, 3-3. And a foul is going to be called. Luis Alberto knocked to the turf, the AstroTurf. Foul was called on Napolitano. DeRico in now for New York. He's going to take the free kick. DeRico hooks it toward the area, knocked out of there by Napolitano. Comes back in. Adrian Webster, the veteran, the solid defender, has it knocked away by Tuxen. Napolitano picks it up, clears it across the penalty area. Dangerous. Alberto, good play by Manis. McKenzie, and they're going to call handball against Alberto. Kyle?
Just beginning to look once again at the Arrows' record on the road. Not only do they have 16 straight at home, but that's got to include some games from last year as well. And all that is in a very precarious position right now as the Spirit has come back and tied this game up with a little over 12 minutes to go in the third quarter.
All right, here's Alberto to Steve Jungle. Jungle with 94 goals on the season, rolls it into the box, but nobody there but Manis. Actually, the 16 straight wins were this year during the regular season, but including playoffs and last season, this club has won 20 in a row here. That's incredible. We use that word a lot in describing New York. But I tell you, give this Pittsburgh club a little bit of credit right here. It's 3-3 playing in their backyard.
Okay, 3 minutes have elapsed in the second half, and Pittsburgh is in the Arrows attacking defensive third. They're attacking, and I think it's going to be a very interesting game.
All right, here's Alberto. Got the pass off, banks off the board, and Webster intelligently knew exactly where that ball was going to come off. That's experience.
That's a hallmark of the Pittsburgh Spirit defense. Experienced, steady players who play their positions well, and they don't take too many goals.
It's also very indicative that in the first 3.5 minutes of the second half, we have not seen Steve Buttle, who was hurt in the late stages of the first half. He's not been on for the first 2 shifts.
Along the same line, we haven't seen Branko Segota either, and I'm
That's right.
looking at the bench. He's standing next to Don Popovich, but we haven't seen him, so maybe his hamstring is beginning to act up
Well,
on
Ray,
him.
you remember I commented earlier, Kyle, I really didn't think that he was moving like Branko Segota moves, but the kid's a great competitor, the 18-year-old scoring genius, and you know he wants to play in a big game. Here's Jungle off the glass and left by O'Hara for Manis.
Interestingly, Segota, though, has his game shirt on, and Buttle, on the other hand, has his warm-up on, and we may not see him the second half.
That'll be a great loss for Pittsburgh because he's a very, very critical player for Pittsburgh's success and has been all season.
Of course, they're playing without Alfie Kahn, who also was injured, another good goal scorer for them. Julie V. Now to Molnar. Again, the correction, that was not V's goal, the third New York goal. It belonged to Strenicer in the scramble. Fife scramble the ball away to Charles, roll it back to Manis. 10:03 to play, third quarter. It's a 3-3 game. Nice pass, Cave to Leaper. Leaper has it knocked away by Tuxa, back to Molnar in the New York zone. New York won the first game of this conference playoff final in Pittsburgh last Sunday, 5-3 on the strength of 3 Steve Jungle goals. Started quickly here tonight in New York. All they have to do is win this first game. They haven't lost at home this year. They started up 2-0, and then Pittsburgh tied them in the second period 2-2. Strenicer made it 3-2 before the half. But lo and behold, a great shot by Mickey Cave, his second goal of the night, has made it a 3-3 game in the third period. Ball deflected out front again, and Manis lobs it over here, and running is Graham Fife. He's a good goal scorer. Cave in support. Fife, a trip by Chilla. Actually, Chilla didn't try to trip him. It was a great crossover, quick move by Fife, and he actually tripped himself over Chilla's lane.
Exactly. Chilla was beaten on that play, and he just stuck his leg out, and Fife made a nice offensive move.
Let's see what they do with the free kick.
They're trying to screen the goalkeeper, and everybody's moving in front, and they misfired.
Yep. Cave got the ball though.
Yeah.
Arshani got it outside. It was not really a good play. All right, here's Charles in the box. They go outside. The shot, and Messing had to be quick on the Mickey Cave shot again. That time, Cave kept it on the ground, and Messing was up to it. Jungle knocked away by Charles. Clive Charles made the play on the scoring machine.
After the first goal, after the first flurry that Steve Jungle, created in the first quarter, he's been pretty quiet for the remainder of the game, and let's credit Pittsburgh's defense for that, because I know that Steve is very motivated. He wants to win this game and score some goals, but Pittsburgh has effectively shut him out for the good part of that first half and the beginning of this third quarter.
Well, Kyle, Pittsburgh is kind of hung tough here. They went down 2-0. They didn't lose their composure. And when they got that first goal, especially by Cave, they seem to really get their composure back again, and they look very dangerous right now. I'll tell you, they could be dangerous before this one is over, too.
And it wasn't but a little less than a week ago when they beat what certainly had to be the most inspired team in the Indoor Soccer League playoffs this year, the Buffalo Stallions, who had a miraculous last week just to get into the playoffs, and yet they beat them 5-3 in Pittsburgh.
That was a good play by McKenzie. Smothered Jungle's shot along the boards. Picked up by Strenicer. Gene Strenicer back to Renato Chilla. New York now attacking. Harshani outside the box. Now they go to V, trying to shield Leaper away. He does, but Leaper made the play, deflected off Harshani. And a whistle. And a pushing foul called against McKenzie of Pittsburgh. Free kick, direct free kick coming up for New York. New York likes to run a guy right through the box. Probably Harshani just hit kind of a side foot deflection on this sort of thing. Let's see if they do it.
Okay, there's Harshani.
Yeah, they can't get him though. He's marked. Yeah. Pittsburgh knew what they were doing. New York applying pressure now. Harshani off the mark. B couldn't get it on goal. That's a good pass by Webster to get out of the zone to McKenzie. McKenzie, Strenicer slowed him down. 7:03 to play in the third period.
I really appreciate Pittsburgh's poise. They're not being intimidated here by the crowd, or they're not being intimidated by the arrows, and showing good poise and good ball control and causing the arrows problems.
And what happens a lot of times in a game like this is all of a sudden a team as great as the Arrows is going to have to start thinking about Pittsburgh and maybe take them a little more seriously right now, because we're getting to the point in the game. Here comes Jungle. Oh, Manis had to make the save, and Jungle went right over the top. You don't think Jungle wants to win?
I think Jungle is the penetration, the force with which he ran was tremendous. He tried it because Manis was fumbling the ball.
From the corner, Jungle hit the shot low and hard. Manis gets it on it's in his legs right now. He has to come over, so Jungle comes in.
Actually, Jungle kind of tripped when he hit the ball, and that's why he fell over.
And the reason that he was going for the ball, he was going for the ball. It looked like he was going for Manis, but he wasn't. Manis was fumbling the ball. He didn't have control of it, so it was not a unsportsmanlike play by Jungle. He was going for the ball.
All right, here comes Curtis Sleeper now. Pittsburgh attacking Cave on the left side. Cave, and it's saved. Well, I tell you, every time Cave's got a shot, boy, it's right on goal, isn't it? All right, good defensive play by Adrian Webster, who's played quite a game. Harshani bothered by Cave, and they roll it back to Renato Chilla. 6:05 to play in the third period. Tie game at 3. Pittsburgh scored the only goal of the third period. A beauty by Mickey Cave. Rennerson got it back in the zone. B. Oh, Manis saves Jungle. What a pass by B. What a save by Manis.
That's just a great sequence right there, offensively and defensively by Manis.
Look at that B. Jungle. Oh. That is skill. That's
skill.
Well, turnabout is fair play. V gave the pass between his legs to Jungle the time before. This time, V will play the ball off the boards. It'll come into Jungle. Jungle play it off his foot. Back to V. Finally, V, with the outside of his foot, toes it in. And it's going to put the Arrows up by 1.
That's an athlete, boy. That was such a subtle little tap back by Jungle, but to keep his balance, you know, and still be able to hit that shot was incredible.
All right, that's just skill. That's just beautiful skill,
right.
and the great pressure and the ability to maintain balance and the agility, and it's just Jungle personified under pressure.
All right, there's a steal now by Molnar. Shot, good defensive play by O'Hara of Pittsburgh. New York leads 4-3. New York has led 2-0. They've led 2-1. They've led 3-2, and they're leading 4-3. No one's run away with this game yet. 5:10 to play, third period. Clive Charles on the defense with O'Hara. Rolls it to Mickey Cave, who's been on the field a lot tonight. O'Hara rolls it back to Manis, who's played a good game in the goal for Pittsburgh. Molnar, and New York attacks with Alberto to Molnar. Nice pass, shot, saved by Manis. Boy, Manis has thrown his body all over the field here.
Again, ever since that shaky first few minutes, I think he's come up with some real sparklers and kept them in the game.
He's a good competitor, that kid.
Yes, he is. Well, I guess guys from Chicago are supposed to be a little bit tough. Hey, Jim?
Oh, no. It was not hit inadvertently by Charles. Charles coming back, but there is no own goal for the way in indoor soccer at MISL.
So we should see the goal credit, excuse me, Jim, to Addy Coker in the corner. As Molnar makes the block, and there's Coker, number 11. He'll get it once again. Hits it on the volley. Past Manis, hits Charles. In slow motion, it looked like he might have had a chance to get out of the way, but he really didn't.
That time, Manis's defense let him down.
Yes, that was not Manis's goal at all. No, Charles was caught flat-footed, leaning on the wrong foot. He was leaning on the foot that the ball struck, and he just couldn't get out of the way. Couldn't get out of his own way, leaning the wrong way, off balance, and an unfortunate goal against Pittsburgh, because really, you know, it was one of those scramble goals, but they do occur in the indoor game. Let's give Addy Coker a little bit of credit, too, for the good hustle that he showed.
That's another thing about playing New York. You know, you're playing them well, it's 3-3, but you can't make any mistakes against New York because they make you pay for it.
Yeah.
But good teams do that as well. Messing, throwing it out to Alberto. Shep's a master at that outlet pass. Trost gets back to roll it back to Shep. Jim Carvelis, Ray Klavecka, Kyle Rose Jr. Here comes DeRico. Hard shot. Manis can't find it.
Shot by DeRico.
He made the initial save. The ball spun away and had a wicked spin on it. And that's why he couldn't figure out where it was. But he was very fortunate, and he came down where he could get it. Now Pittsburgh has to maintain possession because the crowd is going a little bit wild, and the arrows are hot. They're sensing a little. Maybe they could now put the game away. Pittsburgh has to maintain possession and quiet down the crowd a little bit. Quiet down New York.
We'll be back with more MISL action in just a moment. McLaughlin chased all the way back into his own zone by David Butler.
I guess we might see Pittsburgh pressing a little bit now, trying to maybe cause an error and convert a quick goal.
Yes. O'Hara rolls it back to Manis now. The Arrows win this game. They'll take on Houston on Sunday evening, and you'll see that game over most of these cable systems, the MISL championship game. Curtis Leeper. Trigovic knocked away from behind, but a foul on Val Tuxa. Val says, I know it. I'm sorry.
Tuxa had a great thrill in that game in Pittsburgh, scoring one of the goals for New York. And as we saw DeRico attacking that last challenge, as Gino's holding up his hand once again to hold up play while the teams change. But Ray, I would imagine it's great to see players like DeRico that for the U.S. national team has always played in defense, never really had much of a chance to attack, getting an opportunity in indoor soccer.
Yes, I think it's a great opportunity for him and for so many of the other American players as well.
O'Hara now being chased back into his own zone by Al Trost. All right, here's Clyde Charles against McLaughlin. Charles high off the board. Tuxa was there, though, to knock it away from Shep. Long throw for Jungle. Jungle. Nobody there. Tuxa can't get to it. Clyde Charles can. And Val steals the ball. That's nothing but effort.
That's just sheer courage and hard work. That's all it was. And I think that Val Tuxa personifies courage and hard work.
Napolitano off his head into the stands. It'll be a kick-in for the Arrows, who have Sutevsky, Jungle, Trost, now Strenicer and Chilla on the defense. Adrian Webster comes in with McKenzie on defense for Pittsburgh. They have Mickey Cave, Napolitano, and Graham Fife up front. Gene DiPolito, the official. All right, good ground level shot there. You see Strenicer, who scored the third New York goal. Sutevsky, brilliant defender. Oh, great save by Manis.
A very strong shot, but a very, very good save. And Manis seems to have hurt his right shoulder.
Yes,
seems to be holding it. I hope he's okay.
The reason he's playing is that Alan Mayer, the #1 goalkeeper, has a bad shoulder. Jungle stays on the ball. Off the boards and over the top by Sutevsky. Jungle is a lot quicker than he looks.
Because he saves his quickness for that critical moment. He runs in maybe second or third gear, and then when he has to, he goes into the fourth gear, and the defender's caught a little bit unawares, and he's gone. That's all he needs. And that's, I think, the key to his success, along with his great skill. He's able to accelerate off a very fast run.
That's a real special talent, isn't it, Kyle? Really, those are your dangerous players, not only in soccer, but in football and basketball and any sport. Those players that are able to not give you one pace. They're always going to give you a different look, a different speed. You never clock them.
And in soccer, of course, we have to remember that there are two kinds of speed. One is raw speed, and there's some very fast players, but then you have people like Jungle and V that in a 100-yard run may not beat anybody, but with the ball, they're so fast.
Yes.
They're easily the fastest players in the league. I think probably Jungle is both. He's fast on the field as well as fast with the ball. But my case would be a good example. I'm relatively fast on the run, but not a fast player with the ball.
All right, Mickey Cave gave a fast kick to Sutevsky, and he's going to sit out the next 2 minutes.
13 minutes, 45 seconds.
And that'll be a very slow 2 minutes as far as Len Billis is concerned. Shep Messing now figures, well,
All right.
pressure's off for a couple minutes. Let's get another one.
If there is going to be a critical moment in the second half, this is it. If Pittsburgh survives, I think they're back in it. If the Arrows score, well, I think then Don Pop is going to be a happy man.
Harshani in the game in Chillum. Excuse me, Kyle. And now a foul is going to be called on Harshani.
Another reason I think this is so critical is that during the regular season, Pittsburgh had the worst penalty-killing unit in the league. For some reason, they've have been unable to keep teams from scoring.
It's interesting, isn't it, Kyle, that during the course of the regular game, with the full squad, they do very well defensively, and yet when it's a penalty-killing situation, they seem not to be able to put it together.
Well, that's because they have a man less. That's too logical. All right, and the save by Manis. Manis is going to be a tired guy by the time this game is over.
Right.
Well, this is the score that New York beat Pittsburgh in game one of the playoff, 5-3. I doubt whether it's going to be the final score tonight. Chilla to Harshani, 17 seconds to play in the quarter. Ball off the back of O'Hara of Pittsburgh, 11 seconds. Sutevsky, 10. In the box, go! Great pass, Sutevsky. Right on the money.
Great pass by Sutevsky and a great ball by V. But Art Napolitano was caught looking away. Look at Art. He was caught out of position. You know, he let Julie V get in behind him, and he knows it. Look at his face. He knows it. The rule is you don't let the offensive man get behind you like that. Art turned his head. Julie V got behind him. Result, a great goal for the Arrows.
2 goals for Julie V tonight. And it's now 6-3. The Arrows all of a sudden have scored 3 goals in a couple of minutes. Boy, they have really exploded. And that is the end of the third quarter with a score now. The New York Arrows 6.
Butler is definitely one of the people that makes them go. Let's see what happens. Let's hope that he's okay. It's interesting to note, though, that the Arrows have scored at the critical times, early in the quarter and at the end of the quarter, and have turned the game around.
Yes, good point. All right, DeRico in there, along with V and Jungle and Alberto and Tuxa wide open. They're going to 2-on-1 if he can hurry up and get it in front. There it is. Go! They had a 2-on-1. I didn't know if he could get it to Jungle in time, but he could.
He did. And it's just, I think, a mental error by the Pittsburgh team again. And again, they got a goal early in the quarter. They seem to be having difficulty getting started the first 2 or 3 minutes, and it hurt them again.
Well, with Pittsburgh playing a man-to-man defense, they're subject to an overlap, and in that case, Tuksha, coming from behind as a defender, came around the outside, the back, got one-on-one, pulled a defender to him, got the ball to Jungle, and Jungle doesn't miss him from that distance.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know who made the pass to Tuksha. It might have been DeRico, but that was a great pass. That set it up. That gave him a 2-on-1 advantage.
DeRico probably will not get the credit in terms of, you know, in the assist, but in terms of the game.
A goal! Oh. From Jungle. And this is vintage New York Arrows. They've just blown this game wide open.
All right, Jimmy's fourth. All right. As Val Tux's hustle. Zungel draws everybody to him, and Julie V's all alone.
You know, with about 6 minutes to go in the third period, this was a 3-3 game. It's now 8-3. 3 goals for V, a hat trick. So Jungle had the hat trick of the first game in Pittsburgh. V, Julie V right here, gives New York a hat trick here tonight. 8-3 New York, and they're looking forward to Sunday now against Houston.
Again, let's give credit to Val Tuxa because he won an important duel along the boards. Will not get credit for the assist. Won an important ball and gave it to Zungel. So again, the defenders are winning some important balls at midfield to create chances for the forwards.
Now, Ray and Kyle, we talked about some of the clubs in the league. Pittsburgh got off to an awful start this year. They fired their coach, Alex Pringle. They brought in Len Billis. All he did was win 13 straight games. As we look at the Central Division, in Houston beat Wichita in a tough 2-game series. Boy, those Wings really came on strong late in the year. They were one of the toughest clubs in the league to beat. Jungle, go!
Unbelievable, isn't it? Talk about their ability to put the ball into the net.
And we've just set a new playoff record for time elapsed with 3 goals. V with the hat trick. Now Jungle adds number 20 this season. Deflection. Manis was not really out of position, had a good position, but the ball deflecting off the defender.
That's right.
With topspin sinking as it went over his head.
If the ball would have been hit with any kind of force, Manos had it. It had that kind of top spin and it was dipping, and Manos had no chance for it.
For the scoring machine, number 7, Steve Jungle.
Jungle has made it 9-3. Now get this. Jungle has played in 5 playoff games in his career in the MISL. He's had at least a hat trick in all those games. That's his 20th hat trick of the year. You got to be kidding me. 3 goals in 32 seconds, was it?
That's right. Well, it's vintage arrows, I guess. Vintage Jungle.
Well, now I really bet that Cooper didn't make the trip with his team. I don't know if they wanted to see that. Look at Julie V.
Yeah, Julie's showing his ability to handle the ball under pressure.
Here's Tuxa, V, and Jungle are running. Shot. Oh, good leg save by Manis. That was on its way into the corner.
Because he had Manos leaning the wrong way because he showed him the inside of the foot in the last moment, shot it with the outside of his foot, but Manos reacted well and made a very good kick save.
13:05 to play in the game. New York has exploded. Tuxa, Manis knocked it away. Alberto off the glass. Sutevsky off the hand of Manis. A good save. In front. Look at New York. You think they were down 9-3. Trikovich. And now a foul is going to be called against McLaughlin. McLaughlin fouling
Tickets for the New York
Hal Partenheimer, number 29, into the game for Pittsburgh.
Manis on the other end of the field looks totally shell-shocked. He's just been shaking his head. I don't know how he's been able to hang in there the way he has.
Well, again, you know, I really not making any, not trying to defend Peter in any way. I think he's played well. His defense really let him down because
the last
most of these goals, the last 3 or 4
the
goals.
last 3 goals, he had nothing to do with them. He was just there.
Of course, not many goalkeepers will stand up to Steve Jungle and Julie V.
Inside the box.
That's right.
Tickets will also be available at the Coliseum during the day tomorrow. And
long throw.
on location.
Here comes Chris Furman in front, trying to get it to Partenheimer. No go. Furman stays on the ball. Charles, it's a low shot. Look at that quick reflexes by Messing. He really got quickly to his left, didn't he?
A strong shot by Charles, but Shep read the ball and he went down very well to his left. Again, those low, hard balls are tough for goalkeepers, but Shep reacted very well.
All right, that's an offside call. The ball traveled over the 3 lines on the field in the air. And we'll have a direct free kick.
Looks though, Jim, as though Billy Michelot, the backup keeper for Pittsburgh, will be coming onto the field to replace, as once again I said, our shell-shocked Pete Manis, who really has had a courageous game. Michelot, who played at the University of Alabama at Huntsville, All-American down there, has been the 3rd keeper this year for this team. Most indoor soccer teams have had to use a multitude of keepers. Philadelphia has used over 5. And as we said earlier, fortunately, New York has only really had to use Shep.
Ray, doesn't Michelot have a brother that played a defender? Michelot?
The name is familiar. I think so. I'm not sure now.
I believe Washington drafted him. I'm not sure, but I believe he does have a soccer-playing brother. All right, the championship game will be here in the Nassau Coliseum, and it'll be Sunday night. All right, the PA announcer has now given credit to Peter Madison, the very good fans here in New York who are in a very good mood right now. Give him a nice round of applause as Shep Messing discusses things with the referee.
Well, he's discussing a 2-minute boarding penalty against McLaughlin.
There's a penalty.
All right, we'll be back with more MISL action in just a moment.
2 minutes for boarding. Time of the penalty is 3 minutes, 38 seconds.
All right, in the Atlantic Division, New York with an unbelievable 27-5 record, 11-5 on the road, 16-0 at home. Pittsburgh 9 games away, 18-14, and 13 of those were in a row. McKenzie's shot is knocked down. Now it's Pittsburgh for the second time tonight with a man advantage. They had a man advantage earlier after they tied the game at 2-2. That could have been a turning point, too, because they could have had a chance to take the lead there. They never did. They've never led in this game, by the way, Pittsburgh. And by the way, they haven't beaten New York this year either. New York's beaten them every time they played. Long throw for Sutevsky, and Michelot takes no chances. He knocks it away. And a nice pass to McKenzie. Here comes McKenzie. Fight. To Sutevsky with 10:37 to play.
Okay, again,
New York working off a penalty, right?
Yeah, again, the arrows are showing the, error by Stranitzer, but Shep makes a great play.
And again over the top. Instead of trying to chip it over Shep, who was down,
Yeah,
Butler trying to nail it.
Yeah.
Header by Graham.
Miscued a little bit, leaning back and miscued, and the ball went over the top. But again, New York is trying, instead of just to clear the ball out on the power play, they're trying to maintain possession and run the clock, and that's the hallmark of the New York game. They want their skill to play for them. And
you know, Shep Messing was playing a little game with Molnar. He was really trying to counter the defense. He was telling him to move over to the left, and then when Molnar went over there, Shep kicked it to the right, hoping that Molnar might read that. New York needs another goal, and they need a hole in the head anyway at this point.
But you want to know something? They're very competitive. They want that goal, and they'll be going for it once this power play is over. And I think it's very important now for Pittsburgh to maybe get on a board and sort of break the New York rhythm and break their momentum.
Well, Ray, you know this better than Kyle and myself as a coach. A coach wants them to keep playing anyway. Yeah, they got another game here Sunday.
Absolutely.
He doesn't want them to ruin their rhythm, and they want them to
right.
keep playing soccer.
Let's keep going forward, or let's do the things that we're supposed to be doing. Let's do all the good things.
Off the boards and almost a tip-in by Strennisser, who was coming across the goal mouth. That was a good feed.
Yes.
Interestingly, on the field right now, we have 4 players that defected from Hungary at one time or another, in Molnar, Strennisser, and Harshani.
Yes. Who's the other one?
And Shep Messing. I figured I'd help you out, Kyle.
Actually, Julie V is the other New York player. New York has 4 players that have done that. But the 3 on the field are Harshani, Strennisser.
Altros with Michelot off the boards, and the chip over the top by McLaughlin, who's out of the penalty box.
McLaughlin just half volleyed it. He got underneath it. With a better technical execution, I think that's a goal.
Don't forget that tickets for the championship.
A good run by Altros, though. You know, he made a very nice run down the left side, and Al has been getting some spot time, and every time he comes in, he does a very credible job. He's not one of the great stars, but he comes in, he gives us 30 seconds or a minute or whatever he's on for, does a very credible job, and he's one of the players that makes New York happen.
Well, they have a term for those kind of players in England. They call them good, honest players. And good teams have a lot of good, honest players. Here's Chilla, Renato Chilla, high off the glass, and Harshani ran into Michelot. That's some collision. Surprised he's getting up. He's not up yet.
Michelot showed quite a bit of courage in going for that one because Harshani was coming.
Well, he's fighting it off. He's up now. He doesn't look too ginger, but he's ready. All right, Curtis Leeper of Pittsburgh now. We have 8:25 to play in this conference championship in the Atlantic Division, and it looks like New York is going to beat Pittsburgh 2 in a row. They have a 9-3 lead here with 8:20 to play. And now we have another foul, going to be a penalty going to be called, and Messing had to run out and intercept Strenicer. Here's where Michelot got hit by Harshani.
He fell in an awkward kind of a way. He fell with very little body control, and I think he may have banged himself and knocked the wind right out of him, because he really went down in a very awkward way.
And if I remember, Michelot had an early season knee surgery, and so falling like that on his legs, holding his knee the way he was, it may have been a re-injury of that knee that's already had surgery this year.
Gene DiPolito was awarded a 2-minute penalty to Strenicer of New York. 9-3 the score. Let's look ahead a little bit to Sunday night.
Yeah,
At Houston Club with Hoskivi and Anderson, they've got a pretty talented team.
Yes, they do. And the last time that Houston was in here, perhaps one of the great games of MISL was played with that 3-2 win, where Zungel won the game for the Arrows in the last 30 seconds or so. The score was 3-2, and it was a tremendous, tremendous game. So I'm looking forward to Houston coming in here and playing some of that very good defense and having a similar game.
In front, Messing made the play and over the top. In that game, by the way, Houston was leading 2-1 with a little over a minute and a half to go, so New York really had to pull that one out.
And there was a key penalty called against Jimmy Palahan, and then Zungel took the penalty and tied it up, and then he scored again right near the end of the game, and the goalkeeper in the goal at that time was Zeppi Gottenheimer, their backup, and he did a great, great job for Houston. So all in all, it was just a very, very fine game, and I think maybe one of the best played in the MISL this year.
So that's what we have to look forward to this Sunday evening right here in the Nassau Veterans Coliseum. We know you'll want to be on hand over most of these cable systems on the Madison Square Garden Sports Network. All right, Pittsburgh coming out of their own zone with 7:45 to play in the game. Clive Charles, Partenheimer. Some kid was blocking Klavecka's view. He hit him with a bullseye, hit him with a program or something. The kid just went home.
I hit him right between the shoulder blades, but I didn't really hurt him.
Kyle called a 2-minute penalty on Klavecka.
Good thing Gino wasn't looking.
Ray, you can't talk for 2 minutes. All right, here's McKenzie of Pittsburgh. Partenheimer high off the glass. Luis Alberto. And he's fouled by McKenzie. A little bit of frustration for Pittsburgh.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I said that's a foul of frustration. McKenzie's just frustrated, playing his heart out all game. Knows that pretty much it's a little bit out of it now, and they just want to get on the boards, and they're having a hard time getting a goal. Pittsburgh wants to score. You know, they're professionals. They have pride, and they want to go out of here with their heads up. I think with a goal, they can walk out of here with their heads up.
Yeah, I agree. Well, again, give them credit for what they did this year. They had a 13-game winning streak. That's going to be tied tonight, by the way, because after New York wins this game, it'll be 13 straight for them. But they really made a great comeback this year. There were some great stories in the MISL this year. Pittsburgh and Buffalo, the way they came on. The Houston club, which held in. They had some terrible injuries, Kyle, this year.
Yeah.
And another 2-minute penalty is going to be called.
There was a penalty really of frustration once again.
Yeah,
just as Ray was talking about.
It's just unfortunate.
Right, the ball had been there against the boards, and he kicked his heel back Fife after the whistle had already been called, just in frustration, and he's going to get,
there's a penalty.
I would imagine, for ungentlemanly conduct.
That's exactly right, ungentlemanly conduct.
Number 14, Graham Fife.
All right, so the teams now are at equal strength.
Sportsmanlike conduct.
But for a minute
Time of the penalty,
35 or so, New York's going to have a man advantage. Unless someone scores a goal here, either way. Right now they're at equal strength. Tuxa, Dorico. Back to Tuxa. Jungle, boy, he was cutting through the box, and Tuxa hit him with a really good pass.
Corner kick, New York.
Corner kick, New York. New York's going to have a man advantage in about 5 seconds. And they'll have it for 1:35. DeRico missed the mark. All right, now Strenisser will come out of the penalty box, so New York will have that man advantage we were talking about with 1:30.
And the man on is Julie V, which is, again, it's a tough way for Pittsburgh to go.
Pittsburgh's hurry. If they can hurry, they'll have a 2-on-1. Partenheimer didn't hurry, though, and he made a bad pass.
Yeah. Sort of tentative in his pass.
Yeah.
He hesitated.
Here's V. Well, Segura didn't play much tonight, but V picked up the slack for him with a hat trick. 2 hat tricks. Jungle, what's new, and Julie V. Satevsky fires goal.
I'm sure Michelot had been screened on that one because the shot was not that hard. It was placed well. But the defenders racing out to try and block the shot did not get a piece of it, and Michelot undoubtedly was screened.
A man advantage goal. There it is.
It looked like it went through 2 Pittsburgh defenders, and Michelot really was awkward in going down. That means that he just didn't see it. Not Michelot's fault at all.
First goal of the playoff.
The Arrows led 3-2 at the half. They've outscored Pittsburgh 7-1 in the second half to win convincingly.
The assist to number 8, Louis Alberto.
All this club has done in regular season and playoffs is won 29 after tonight and lost 5. And some of those 5 games were tough games. They lost an overtime game to Buffalo, didn't they? They lost another tough game to Buffalo, a 1-goal game.
Yeah, and they lost early in the season to Hartford, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Hartford beat them by the 1 goal.
Can you imagine these guys could have gone through the season undefeated? I think I heard somebody say at one point in the season that they had the best percentage of any professional team in any sport in America.
I think they're keeping that record intact.
Yes, they are. McLaughlin. Julie V is open, a little behind him. Julie. Well, I tell you, he is magic with the ball. 4:45 to play in the game. The Arrows by 7. It was a tight game. It was 3-3. Here's V. Give and go. Just missed. A nice little give and go with V and Sutel. Look at Julie. Look at him. Look at the pass. And a great save by Michelot. I mean, you couldn't do better with your hands. Come on. He's incredible with his feet.
You look at Popovich's face, he still seems to be concerned. Pop, it's okay. It's 4 minutes to go. The score is 10-3. But that's Popovich's style. It's never over until it's over, and I think that's what that's how most coaches look at it. They want that final whistle to blow, and then they relax.
Look at Jungle. Look how strong he is. McKenzie was bumping him and holding him and grabbing him, and he stayed on the ball. Now Molnar, Tibor. Jungle, little touch to Chilla. Renato fires. Oh! Hit the underside of the crossbar and came out. What a shot by Chilla.
That has goal written all over it. It's just fortunate for the Pittsburgh team that it didn't go in, because nobody had a chance at that one.
All right, here's Jungle. Broken up. Nice play by Charles. And back to Michelot. New York still playing hard, still chasing the ball. Kyle?
Well, they know how hard this game Sunday night is going to be against Houston, and to have the confidence and the old trite word momentum going into the game, it's important that they keep playing well.
I want to thank a lot of behind-the-scenes people. Len Billis there in the blue jacket. He's a Pittsburgh coach. It's such a fine job with this Pittsburgh club this year. No, you can't take that away from him.
And he's still coaching. He's still looking at the line changes. He's still looking at matchups, and he's doing his job. He's a professional coach. His team is a little bit out of it, but you're in it until the whistle blows, and that's how Lenny's playing it.
We should congratulate Lenny on being named Coach of the Year, co-coach of the year in the MISL.
Steve Jungle, the most valuable player with the ball along the left boards. Oh, what a bullet.
Good positioning by Michelot, though. He stood there and he never moved. It was right at him, so that tells us that his angle was good. He picked up the right angle and made a good save.
I want to thank the behind-the-scenes people who do such a marvelous job out here. Our technical crew, the camera work was terrific. Terry Lewicki did a fine job directing tonight's telecast. Harlan Singer and Gary Dubin, terrific job putting it together, producing it. And, of course, thank you to Ray Clavecca, one of the bright young American coaches in the country, and to Kyle Rowe Jr., my partner all year long, and a guy that probably did as much for promoting the game of soccer in America than any other American. I thank you for a great year, and I'm not going to say goodbye because you don't have to get on a plane to be here Sunday. Just stay away from the airports, Kyle. We'll be on Sunday night over most of these cable systems. It should be something. Houston and these New York Arrows. The Arrows will try to win their second consecutive championship in the MISL, and Houston with upset in mind. Here comes Zutevsky, the pass for Jungle deflected. And here's Adrian Webster. A minute and a half to play in the game.
In that game last night, Jim, Hoskevy, the 4 goals that Houston scored, he had 3 of them. And some of the most incredible goals like Jungle might score. It's going to be quite a matchup between the top scorer of Houston and the top scorer of the New York Arrows Sunday night.
Well, Hoskevy did a great job in the 3-2 game that the Arrows won the last time. I mean, he was really a potent force out here, and I'm sure that he'll be the same again. I mean, it was a pleasure watching him play in that game. He's really a fine, fine indoor player.
Well, Houston has something to prove, too. You know, last year they won the divisional championship, won the league championship, and then were upset in the playoffs by Philadelphia. I think they want a shot at that title. They're going to have it. Off the glass, 40 seconds to play in the game. Hey, we've got 2 pretty good goalkeepers showing up here Sunday night, too.
Really do. Mick Poole of Houston, who was the second in the MVP balloting in the All-Star game. And, of course, the man we've been watching all night, Shep Messing of the Arrows. Last year's MVP in the playoffs as he led his team to the first major indoor soccer league championship.
I'm running down to 18 seconds to play. Messing a long throw for Tuxa with 13. Al Trost will pick it up with 9. With 8. They're counting it off with 7. Trost tried to chip it in the corner over there. Here's a shot in front.
On the floor, on his back, he still wants to score, and that's what makes Steve Zungel a scoring machine. With exactly 1 second to go in a game, scored 10-3. Zungel is fighting for position, and he gets it sitting down. He scores every which way, and that's Steve Zungel.
I'll tell you, you really have to be impressed with New York's wanting to continue to play, even though they've had this game won for 15 minutes. They just like to play soccer.
It's either that or professionalism, or they're being paid by the goal.
And that's it. That's it. New York, a convincing second-half performance that saw them outscore Pittsburgh 8-1. They win the Atlantic Conference Championship. They qualify to play Houston right here in Long Island Sunday evening for the championship of the Major Indoor Soccer League. That's the end of the ball game, the final score. The Arrows of New York 11, the Spirit of Pittsburgh 3. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment.
The #1 star of tonight's game.
You're the Pepsi generation, the spirit of today. And with every taste of life that's...
Or Soccer League. It was a good game until there was 6 minutes remaining. With 6 minutes remaining in the third period, it was 3-3. I remember the 3 of us commenting on how anything could happen. Pittsburgh's poise was terrific. They were, I think, unnerving New York a little bit. At least I thought they were. And then all of a sudden, New York just exploded. Exploded 3 goals in 32 seconds to set a record. And all of a sudden, it wasn't a ball game anymore.
I think that's the key. I think all year New York was the kind of a team that had the ability to score at any moment and did that in bursts and spurts throughout the entire season. Things stayed true to form. They needed a burst. They went to their veterans, and V and Zungel are the money players, and they came out and they did score.
Hi, Jim Carvelis, Kyle Rowe Jr. and Ray Clavecca. Hi, Kyle. You've seen this Houston club a lot. You live in Houston. You know a lot about them. You know a lot of the players. Can this club come in here and give New York all it wants in the big game Sunday night?
A little-known event that happened a few weeks ago, something Ray mentioned, the 3-2 loss. They were ahead 2-1 with 1 minute and 47 seconds to go. Houston is one club that has confidence that they can beat New York at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And by the fact that they're spending all the extra money to bring their players in tonight to watch this game, and the style of coach that Kenny Cooper is, you can be assured there's going to be a game plan that they're going to take to the tee.
Ray, what's your quick comment on that?
I think that I am, after watching that game 3-2, and I was very impressed by Houston's play. I think that they're one of the few teams that match up very well, and I'm looking for a very, very big game Sunday night.
And we'll have that big game over most of these cable systems on the Madison Square Garden Sports Network. The MISL Championship game Sunday night. Hope you enjoyed tonight's game. We'll see you Sunday night. So long, everyone.